for me, the key highlight as the Ministry of Health is that we need to ensure that equipments are equitably distributed all over the counties as well as in level 6 hospitals. And under the NESP program, we are taking agreements together with our county governors to ensure that they sign and they are able to have these equipments. These will be equitable all over the country, and patients can have affordable, accessible, quality care through these interventions.
From our visit here is the burden of the disease is huge, and therefore it merits our departure from the curative health services provision towards preventive promotive health care. Because if you look at the numbers that we have seen here at the cancer center, the dialysis center, the numbers are huge. And probably quite a significant number of these cases would have been prevented if we put emphasis on health promotion, health prevention.
Tuseme unapikwa CT scan, wanakuambia ni 10K, wanakuambia unaongezea, wanalipa 6, halafu unaongezea 4, na walikuwa wamekuambia watakuwa wanalipa yote. Hapo mtusaidie sana.
Lakini kwa wale wanaingia, ninasikia wana shida sana, inachukua muda mrefu. Mimi sikuwa na shida kubwa sana, hata kwa chemo, except zile dawa zinakosa, tunanunua, ninatibiwa.
Elsewhere, the High Court has ordered the government to compensate residents of Mathare, Kairu, Mkurukwaruben and Kimaiko who were forcibly evicted for allegedly living on riparian land. Faith McKenna with the details.
Footage captures the aftermath in Mathare, with rows of destroyed homes and scattered debris marking the once thriving community. Displaced residents sift through the rubble, salvaging what they can, while others huddle together under makeshift shelters. And today, Justice Mogeni has ruled that these residents deserve fair compensation for their losses. The court criticized the government's actions, stating that hundreds were left homeless, vulnerable to harsh weather and flooding, without any alternative shelter provided. In her ruling, she emphasized that the government's actions were inhumane, comparing the treatment of the evictees to being treated like garbage. She highlighted that Kenya, although without specific eviction laws, is bound by international conventions for humane evictions. The court has directed that general damages be determined by a joint team of evictees and government representatives within 120 days. The compensation must then be paid within 60 days of finalizing the assessment, with a report filed in court at the end of this period. Justice Mogeni concluded that the eviction without adequate notice caused unjustifiable mental and physical suffering to the residents.
It's the final day before the U.S. presidential election and the last opportunity for the candidates to deliver their pitch to voters. The polls continue to show Democratic candidate Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump running neck and neck, both nationally and in most swing states. With just a few hours to go and more than 77.6 million votes already cast, new polling shows Kamala Harris leading among early voters in the country's battleground states.
Kamala Harris spent the last days of her campaign in the swing state of Michigan, meeting with voters at a Detroit chicken and waffle restaurant and speaking at a local church, where she said voters in her Democratic Party, commonly associated with the color blue, are being joined by voters from the Republican Party who are associated with red.
I see a nation determined to turn the page on hatred and division and chart a new way forward. As I travel, I see Americans from so-called red states to so-called blue states who are ready to bend the arc of history toward justice.
Donald Trump campaigned in the swing state of North Carolina, where he told supporters he's confident of an Election Day win.
We have a big, a beautiful lead. All we have to do, Mike, all we have to do is go out on Tuesday and vote, vote, vote.
Trump told supporters that their opponents are already trying to steal this election.
They cheat on elections, and you call them on it, and they want to put you in jail. Think about it. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen, but I love it. You know why? because we've proven something, we've shown something, and we're going to get it fixed, and we got to win this election.
At that rally, Trump again suggested violence against political opponents, this time the media. Harris says this election is about more than partisan politics, and those who she says, quote, seek to deepen divisions, sow hate, spread fear, and cause chaos.
And I pledge to listen to people who disagree with me. Because, you see, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. In fact, I'll give them a seat at the table because that's what strong leaders do.
More than 75 million Americans have already voted in this election. That's nearly half the total who voted 4 years ago. Public opinion polls show a close race, with the closing New York Times Siena College survey showing voters equally split at 48% for both Trump and Harris.
The Kenya Union of the Blind, together with the African Union of the Blind, have joined hands in a campaign for the white cane. They are, to this end, calling on the government to continue giving support to the visually impaired. A white cane represents more than just a tool for navigation. It embodies independence, safety, social inclusion, and access to opportunities that are often limited to the visually impaired community. With a white cane, a visually impaired person gains autonomy, allowing them to move independently without the constant need for guidance.
We are today reflecting on the importance of the white cane and the importance of ensuring safe mobility for blind and partially sighted, and we are calling on African governments to ensure the availability of the white cane to blind and partially sighted people in Africa at an affordable price.
We do not have data which is reliable so that you can help the government to plan for it, but that should not be the reason why they could not provide the little they can, because we have reference. We use the World Health Organization data as a reference of blind people or people with disability in each country. They should use those data to budget or to plan for whatever needs are for person with disability in each country.
Mbona white cane zisitengezwe hapa Kenya? Tuweze kuwa tu lazima tuweze kuwa tunazitoa either Uchina ama India. Ni wakati ambapo washikadau, serikali, sekta ya kibinafsi na mashirika ya jamii yaje pamoja tuweze kupata mikakati ya kutengeneza hizi white cane hapa Kenya.
Well, let's now have a look at some business news. The Tea Board of Kenya has lined up a list of activities in November as it celebrates 100 years of its existence and tea production in Kenya. According to revelations from TBK, 100 years since tea growing started in Kenya, the industry supports over 600,000 farmers and impacts approximately 6.5 million Kenyans, contributing 2% to the national GDP and 4% to agricultural GDP.
Kenya is to attain a global, competitive, profitable, and sustainable tea industry by effectively developing, regulating, and promoting the Kenya tea industry for socio-economic growth of the country and improve livelihood. Our strategic goals are to improve the tea growers' income, enhance the tea value addition, and expansion and enhance the compliance with the tea industry regulatory framework and boost institutional operational efficiency. Currently, TBK is comprised of a staff supplement of 56 employees serving at the various institutional various stations.
When you see me, just see the entire board.
It's a new dawn for the pharmaceutical supply, with Jungo Farm moving to connect healthcare providers, distributors and manufacturers on a single platform for seamless procurement and growth. Connecting over 4,000 pharmacies locally, the platform enables players to introduce new products, track performance and access real-time data across various regions. Jason Ketman, Jungo Farm Director, joins us with more insights on the automation of procurement processes and streamlining of inventory management.
Done is, now that we've digitized all of these customers to these suppliers, we then also digitize the supplier side as well. Now, often these suppliers do have systems that they're working with, but they do not have the ability to enable their customers to be able to order from them online. And then we can also do the entire fulfillment process. And so the invoicing can all be done online. The bill of lading or pick list can be done online. The delivery documents can be done online. And this is an added benefit to the customers of theirs, in the sense that as soon as they accept the order, traditionally this is a document that you just check everything off to say, okay, yes, this is correct, this is correct, this is not. Because again, these older systems maybe don't have real-time access to information. These suppliers are taking orders from lots of places. There are people walking into them, there's people calling, there's field sales or field marketing people that are facilitating these orders. And so for them to keep track of what their real-time inventory is a very large burden for them. But Jungo Farm will provide that visibility in real time. And so it also increases order accuracy. But once the order has been accepted through this digital process, then the pharmacies and hospitals' inventory will be updated in real time, so they don't have to rekey in all of this information or anything like that. If you are a distributor that says, I would like to be on your platform, it behooves us to provide as many options as possible to these pharmacies and distributors. And so you would likely be garnering many customers that you didn't have access to prior. In addition to streamlining processes, increasing customer loyalty, we are also then providing them with an augmented customer base that could also increase sales as well. When you walk up to a typical business or a typical Kenyan and you tell them that you want to give them something for free, they say, what's the catch? And this has been very challenging to help them understand that there is no catch. The adaption, I think, has been a little bit challenging. I think that people are reluctant with things that sound too good to be true. I can tell you, in the case study of the first supplier that we worked with, they were able to reallocate half of their staff. Half of their staff was no longer needed in their previous roles. And beyond that, their sales tripled. It's a full-time job. Oftentimes, hospitals and pharmacies will not order unless they have an account with somebody, and that account is actually just saying they can get credit extended. And frankly, this is a very large burden for the suppliers who frankly don't want to be doing this, but they recognize that they have to be doing this. And so another element of Jungo Farm is that I&M Bank is happy to offer credit to anybody through the platform. It's exclusive to the platform, and this is another thing that helps make things easier. Is that there is a large amount of funds to open up more options and also alleviate this burden from the distributors. It is a Kenya-based company. The founders, actually all of the team is Kenyan, so we do not have any employees outside of Kenya, but we do have a presence. So we have partner companies that we work with in Malawi and some of the other neighboring countries that have onboarded some pharmacies for us as well. We have onboarded on our own about 5,000 hospitals and pharmacies throughout the Nairobi area. I mean, we do have some referrals where people in Nairobi have told perhaps their friends in Homa Bay about this great software, and so we have customers out there as well. In fact, we even have them in other countries, in Malawi and places like that. So expanding as aggressively as we can, but with everything, it's a process.
Well, that's all we had for business news. Coming up right up next is some sports news with Chris McGuire.
multi bonus. Zidisha ushindi wako hadi 1,000,000 na multi bonus 1000%. Kuwa mshindi. Mozartbet.
At People Daily, we believe small actions lead to monumental changes. As we commit to